Five Angry Men by D.W. Grant. Chapter 1. In the Cage. Oh, the pleasure of pleasure. Oh, the death by pleasure as well. Can one believe and have his cake too? Just 2 nights ago, Solo was sitting right here on this sandy beach, intoxicated by the sand, his last drink, and the lure of the cocoa butter tanning lotion on her skin. This morning, the bars of his cage are encrusted with sea salt, and sand crabs bite him under his flowered shorts. A cold sea wind brings him bitter rain and makes his cage bars sing guilty sea shanties. I once loved a maiden so fine but not true. She took all my innocence and left me for Hugh. Adole, adole, I'm trapped in a cage, made of dishonest desire. Adole, adole, I'm trapped in a cage, how happy am I? Solo's leg bleeds as the bars attack his attempt to stretch his legs through their narrow spaces. He sighs. There will be no rescue today, only more inner pain. Suddenly, the crusty cage door opens and another man is thrust on top of Solo. The man's canvas camo uniform rubs Solo's shoulder raw in a moment, and Solo gives him a mighty shove to the other side of the cage. Yes, there's a small bit of room in the cage, but not enough to erase the smell of Solo's sour alcohol-laced breath. The soldier scoots as far as he can into the left corner of the cage and wipes the sand from his eyes and the smell of tequila and sweet Kahlua from his nose. Asks Ike, "Who are you?" Answers Solo, "I am Solo, and I walk alone." Ike says, "Well, I'm a soldier, but why am I here with you?" "I'm sure you know your crime," answers Solo. "Mine is all about too much lust for life, and now you tell me yours." Says Ike, "Oh, I love my job too much, and one day they found out and took me away. I'm a soldier who hated too much for his country." Solo interrupts, "And why then are you here with me? Perhaps to torment me? Perhaps to learn from me? Perhaps to breathe each other's sour breath?" Suddenly the cage door creaks open and another man lands between Ike and Solo. The feather in Nat's cap flies off and lands in Ike's lap as Nat's elbow jams into Solo's rib. Solo scoffs at Nat's red braided coat as he shoves him into the third corner. He sings in contempt, "Oh, now we have a fancy pants. Are you here because of a wardrobe malfunction?" On his knees and rising to bump his head on the top of the cage, Nat confesses, No, I may be here because I preach for the wrong side." Solo interrupts again, "So, they didn't like your speech. You must have delivered it well enough to deserve this reward." "Too well, I fear," says Nat. "But I would say it again and again, for it is the truth." Ike interrupts, "There's no sin in repeating truth, if it is really the truth, though there are often consequences for those truths." "And this be mine," answers Nat, lifting his head to gaze between the bars. A scurry on the sand, a shout and a curse, and another man tumbles through the cage door. This time it's landing on Ike. "How could they do this to me? To me! Don't they know who I am?" "I know you," shouts Ike, pushing the man to another corner and onto Nat. "And so do I," shouts back Nat, pushing the man on top of Solo. "And I know your name," says Solo apathetically while pushing the man into the last corner. "You are Sir Ethan Wallace, important to society and government, but only a blip on my social horizon. I never minded you because I didn't care. Still don't. Get off of me." Ike interrupts again. "Lord of Strathberry, overseer of the Queen's army." Nat interrupts. "Well, I copied your speeches, twisted them, and repeated the words to the poor and middle class, in hopes they would rise and hang you from London Bridge, and to the upper class, hoping they would finance my cause. And I, says Ike, fought the Queen's enemies because of your words. So many friends and unfortunate foes died because of your words." Solo interrupts yet again. And let me tell the others why you're here. Ike and Nat together declare, we know. Sir Wallace now interrupts, and maybe you do, dear boys, but didn't you all profit from my sin? Solo answers, not as much as you, Mr. Politician. Sir Wallace fires right back at each of the other men. Did you not enjoy the unlimited freedom I gave you, Mr. Solo? I and my government bequeathed you a hanging rope, and you gratefully took it. I did, responds Solo. And didn't you, Sergeant Ike, enjoy the M1 carbine I issued you? Too much, sir, answers Ike. And you, Patriot Nat, didn't I reward you each time you shouted liberty? Nat interrupts. And what, besides fluffy words of patronage, did you reward me with? Sir Wallace replies, do you not know I allowed you to live in this age and day even though I despised your speeches? I could have snuffed you out and your fire out in a moment, but I gifted you the air to breathe and the air to poison. Oh, that's only because you needed a straw man, answers Nat. And you were a good one, and furthered my climb to power, says Sir Wallace. And you others, you were good to me too. Faith and obedience, popular patriotism, alcohol-soaked apathy were all I needed for power, and you boys gave it well. At the end of that sentence, the salty wind blows another shanty at them. Oh, give me a life full of all that I want, and I'll give you my life for all that you want. Adole, how happy am I? Each man quietly examines his guilty stops. All conversation also stops until she comes from behind a mighty cloud.